Hey everybody, it's Anna. Time for the Thursday card in this week's tarot story. So today we have the Eight of Cups. Cups are connected to intuition. They're about following your heart, listening to your emotional truth, as well as connecting with others and feeling emotionally fulfilled. And the eight is a number I associate with deep flow and momentum. So the idea here is there's a very powerful sense of confidence and flow in our intuition. And the image shows this fella walking into the wilderness, basically. He's walking on, like there's water everywhere. Water is always connected with intuition in the tarot. So he's basically walking into a marshland almost. There's as much water as there is land. So that's a very confident place of the heart, of the intuition. He's leaving behind his 8 cups, like, he's abandoning his treasure because he is going after something else. There's something calling him. His heart is leading him somewhere very purposeful, and he is following that. He's willing to abandon everything else for this calling that's speaking to him. And it is nighttime. We've got the moon there. So it tells us that there's limited visibility, which would suggest that he might walk kind of haltingly or in a nervous way because he can't physically see well. But it's an 8 card, so that's telling us even though he can't physically see, he is confident in his step. He doesn't have to physically see. He's feeling his way forward, which is the way the intuition makes its path. Not by spotting something in the distance and working your way to that thing, but like living in this step, finding the next step and the next step, and confidently knowing that you can always find the next step. Maybe that's all you can find is the next step, but you always know you can find that step, and then you'll find the next one. And put enough steps together, and you'll find whatever it is that's calling you in that wilderness, you will find it. So I find this really interesting. This is almost a card that calls us to walk blind, which is something the mind has to learn when it's taking direction and instruction from intuition. And that's been the theme this week, is we had the Knight of Swords in the beginning. And that's the mind, the action taker of the mind, and how the knight, does often try to make its own path. It kind of goes in this direction, tries this course, tries this path, and it's sort of looking at how the world does things and trying to follow other people's examples, which will work sometimes if you're a linear intuitive. But if you're a heart or body intuitive, which are usually the people that respond to my messages, it doesn't work because the mind actually is only responding to what it sees in the world. And the intuition is responding to what is not seen in the world. It's responding to impulse and to genius as it's surfacing. So the mind has to learn how to walk blind in order for the intuition to lead with this level of confidence. We're asking the mind to trust the intuition. So this requires a building up of relationship between the mind and the intuition. The mind has to learn. And that's what we said. We had the Knight of Swords on Monday, the King of Wands on Tuesday, and how like the king is the master energy. The Knight of Swords needs to learn how to follow the mastery of the Knight of Wands. And to me, that's a perfect example of this relationship between the mind and the intuition, their rightful place. The intuition is where the wisdom and genius comes from. The mind is where the action steps are brought into the planet. So this feeling right here can feel a bit scary to the mind, but it feels exciting and hopeful to the intuition. And so consider where you might be feeling this call. And it may seem quite illogical. Like, for one thing, he's walking in the dark. That seems illogical. He's leaving behind his treasures. That seems illogical, right? But that's usually how it looks. There is something that it's not the way the typical world operates. You're doing something that looks like you are losing because you can feel that behind the losing, there's some kind of victory. And you're willing to put all your eggs in one basket for that victory. And that's what brings up that 8 energy of confidence. And that's when the mind doesn't necessarily know where it's going. It's walking blind, but it begins to fall in line and it buys in. It's on your team and it's ready to see what's going to happen. That's our card for today. See you tomorrow for our last one this week. Bye.